You have a memory of your 5th birthday, maybe a cake, maybe a room full of noise. But go back further. Go back to when you were 2, 1, a few months old. There's nothing there. Not fog, not darkness, just an absence, as if that version of you never existed at all. But here's the strange part. You were there. Your brain was working. Your eyes were watching everything. So where did it all go? You spent your first 2 or 3 years of life absorbing more than you ever will again. Every face, every sound, every texture of the world was new. Your brain was building itself in real time, wiring billions of connections every single day. And yet almost none of it survives as a memory you can call up on purpose. Scientists gave this gap a name a long time ago. Sigmund Freud called it infantile amnesia back in the early 1900s. He thought it happened because children repressed early memories, burying them away. He was wrong about the reason, but he was right that something strange was happening. Why would a brain that is working so hard, learning so fast, throw almost everything away? The first clue came from a psychologist named Carole Peterson. She spent years interviewing young children about their own earliest memories. And then, crucially, she came back years later and asked them again. The children's stories shifted. Details vanished. Entire events disappeared completely, as though they had been erased from a hard drive. This wasn't just forgetting the way you forget a phone number. This was something more architectural. It suggested the memories weren't just fading. They were being written over an unstable foundation, one that hadn't finished forming yet. Here is what that foundation looks like. Deep in your brain sits a structure called the hippocampus. Think of it as the librarian of your mind. It doesn't hold your memories itself. It files them, tags them, and connects them so you can find them again later. In an infant, this librarian hasn't finished being hired. The hippocampus is still growing new neurons at a rapid pace well into early childhood. Every time a new neuron gets added to that system, it can disrupt the older connections already stored there. It is a little bit like renovating a library while someone tries to reshelve every book on your behalf every single day. Things get lost in the process, not because anyone made a mistake, because the system itself hadn't stabilized yet. A researcher named Paul Frankland ran an experiment on mice that made this idea concrete. He found that young mice, whose brains were still producing large numbers of new neurons, could not hold on to certain memories the way adult mice could. When he slowed down neuron production in the young mice, their memories lasted longer. When he sped up neuron growth in adult mice, their older memories started slipping away too. The pattern held. More new brain growth meant less memory stability. Your earliest years were the most explosive period of brain growth you will ever go through, which means they were also the least stable for holding on to memories in a form you could revisit as an adult. But there is a second piece to this puzzle, and it has nothing to do with neurons. It has to do with language. A memory, especially an autobiographical one, isn't just a sensation. It is a sensation wrapped inside a story. You remember your first day of school not just as colors and sounds, but as a sequence. You arrived. You felt nervous. Someone spoke to you. You sat down. That structure, that sense of before and after, of self as the main character moving through time, depends on language. And a toddler simply doesn't have the words yet to build that kind of story. Psychologist Patricia Bauer, who has spent decades studying memory development in young children, found that kids begin forming lasting autobiographical memories right around the same age their language skills mature enough to narrate their own experience. Before that point, the raw material of experience is there. The felt sense of the moment is there. But there is no scaffolding to hang it on. So it dissolves. Think about that for a moment. You didn't lose your early memories because nothing happened. You lost them because you didn't yet have a language sturdy enough to hold them in place. This is where it gets strange, though, because if the story of your early years vanished, the feelings did not. Researchers who study attachment and early development have found that experiences from infancy, Even ones you cannot consciously recall still shape your nervous system's baseline sense of safety. A child who is consistently soothed learns on some pre-verbal level that the world responds to distress. A child who wasn't may carry a different baseline into adulthood, a different threshold for what feels safe or threatening, without ever being able to point to a single memory that explains